Okay. I'm Dick Malcolm, Chair of the Dover Community Center Building Committee. Welcome to our meeting on May 8th, 2024. The following the guidance issued by the state in 2020 regarding the open meeting law, this public meeting will be held remotely, and individuals wishing to participate may do so by utilizing Zoom video conference technology. To join the meeting by video conferencing using a computer, tablet, or phone, please visit the town website under meetings for the login info. So I'd like to just do a call to order, a roll call of the committee members present. David Billings.
Here.
I don't see Lucia. I don't see Luciana. I don't see Barry. Ruth Townsend.
Yep, here.
And I am here also, obviously. So that gives us a quorum. And with that, I think we've got one member of the community center club, and hopefully more coming on. And I'd like just to, if Ruth, if you could give us just a quick introduction or description of what the community center club is all about, since you and Luciana are the ones that are spearheading that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a couple. So we've got Jacques and his girls, and we've got Kylie that I saw has just joined, and there may be some others joining as we speak. Yeah, Spencer I just see as well has come in. So basically what the community centre club is that it's a group of students from Dover and Sherburn that meet every 2 weeks. And with Al and Ed, Luciana, and some other special guests, we've looked at things like project management, different technical aspects of the construction, structural engineering, architecture, architectural technology, interior finishes, health and safety on the site, and we've done site visits, amongst lots of other things. And the hope is, and the plan is, that we will continue to meet as a club through until the project is complete. So it's a great group of students. It's a really good core group of students that we have now that have been at most of all, if not all of the meetings.
Yeah, well, that's great. And thank you for putting that together, and welcome community center club members. So with that, let's start with the approval of the minutes of April 8th. There was Al sent out a minutes this afternoon, and they were revised later this afternoon. So, and the revisions basically were some edits to the attendees. Basically, we're moving Terry Sobolewski, since he's resigned from the committee because he's moving out of town. And there were some edits made to the grammatical edits made to the general discussion. So unless there is, is there any discussion on the most recent submittal of minutes? If not,
Nope.
is the motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Great, okay, I will pull the board. David Billings, all those in favor, David Billings,
Yes.
Ruth Townsend,
Yes.
and I am yes as well.
And
Well,
this is
Luciana was,
Oh, and Luciana's here, I am sorry.
no,
And
that's
Luciana,
no problem. I'm a yes, thank you.
okay, thank you very much. Okay, so with that, Al, if you can take us on to construction progress and schedule and budget report and all that.
Sure. Can you give me access to share the screen, please?
My apologies, of course. I've got to go up to.
I believe it's at the bottom where you see the little people, the two like people down there. On the top right arrow, if you click on the top right arrow, there should be like an option to share.
Share screen. Okay. Did that work?
Yes, thank you.
Great. My apologies, everybody. I should have thought ahead on that one.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining. So starting with the construction progress, April was a big month. We started off early April with picking back up on the steel. We had the topping off ceremony on the 5th. In addition, we got past the plumbing inspection issues at the pavilion building. We were dealing with that, for a few months. And so with that, we were able to place the slab on grade at the pavilion. And with the steel going up, that opened up a lot of work in the 1910 building, as well as the connector between the 1910 and the gym. So like I mentioned, we got the plumbing inspection of the kitchen area. That was a big achievement on the 2nd of April. Placed the slab on grade there on the 16th. Started the cold form metal framing around the perimeter on the 18th. And we now have all the roof blocking complete, and it's ready to receive the wood panels that are coming in next week. The gym/connector building with the steel complete. The structural steel was completed around the 10th of April, and the underground plumbing as well as electrical is all complete, inspected, and it's actually just ready to receive the slab on grade, which we were hoping to pour on Friday, but because of the rain, it might get pushed to next week. At the 1910 building, we finished the foundation underpinning on the 5th. We removed all of the shoring after the steel was supporting the building. And so that opened up all the work there. And then we have the window blocking complete as of the 23rd of April. Now, since the end of April, we also started the pavilion sheathing. So again, to go back a little bit, we are going to be looking to approve the contractor's payment application for the month of April. However, since the end of April, we've also started the sheathing installation at the pavilion building. We placed the slab on deck for the connector piece between the 1910 and the gym. And we completed the interior. We're working on the interior still in the 1910 building. Most of that is complete. There's just some miscellaneous items and angles that still need to be placed. And then the glulam or engineered lumber strengthening, it's going really well. The first floor is completed. I'm going to show you some pictures of that. Every single wood joist on that second floor of the 1910 building had to be sistered with a glulam piece. That's all complete on the first floor again. And we started on the upper barrier in the gym building. Upcoming activities, we're going to be, like I mentioned, placing the slab, basically the last slab on grade. That's probably going to get pushed next week because it looks like weather. And then after that, starting the framing in the 1910 building, as well as raising the floor on the second level of the 1910 to match the connector piece. We're going to be starting the roof in the 1910 building next week. Like I mentioned, we're anticipating the TLT coming in next week and also the septic system. Any questions on construction progress? A lot of progress in April, so there's a lot of movement there. Okay, so let's look at some pictures. Again, we started off in the beginning of April with the topping off ceremony, picking back up on the steel. The picture on the right shows what the pavilion building. So the steel in the pavilion had been completed. And we sort of stopped on the steel for a little bit until we finished the CMU for the gym. So that picked back up in the beginning of April. Picture on the right, this is the pavilion at the beginning of the month. And then here's some pictures showing what it looks like as of yesterday. So you can see the framing on the outside of the pavilion building is done, and all of the blocking ready to receive the CLT wood ceiling roof, and then some of the shielding being installed as well. Looking at the gym building, the picture on the left is what it looked like at the beginning of the month. As you can see, no steel in this area. And the picture on the right is what it looks like as of yesterday. And you can see all the steel for the fire pump room, electrical room is complete. And then you can kind of see on the right side some of the air vapor barrier being placed at the gym building. Inside of the gym building, the picture on the left is what it looked like towards the beginning of April. No steel, and the picture on the right shows what it looked like yesterday. All the steel's done, the acoustical decking is done, and they're actually, in this picture, you can see they're working on the conduit for the lights. Going into the 1910 building, a lot of change here. Early in April, all of the shoring was still holding up the building with the steel done. All of that came out. And the picture on the right shows that what it looks like right now, which is it's all inspected and it's ready to receive the slab on grade. And it's all going to be poured together with the connector piece, fire pump room, electrical room, and the entry. So, and that's the last slab on grade that we're waiting on. And you can actually hear on the ceiling, you can see all of this is new, kind of like bright orange. That's the glue lamp that was sister to the old framing. That's all complete. And looking at the second floor of that connector piece, a picture on the left shows what it looked like. Towards the beginning of April, you can see some of the columns were installed, but the shoring was still supporting the building. And the picture on the right shows that this slab on deck it's complete. It's all done. Any questions on the pictures? All right, let's look at schedule. There's a few things we want to talk about. If you guys remember, at the last building committee meeting, I did not present a schedule update. We had received an updated schedule the Friday before. We had the building committee meeting on Monday. When I got that schedule, it showed that the contractor needed an additional 57 calendar days to complete the project. That is on top of the 28 days that we agreed they were entitled to for the asbestos work in the beginning of the project. I was a little surprised by that. I wasn't sure if there was an error with the schedule. So I was waiting to confirm with M. O'Connor, hey, what's going on here? Is this an error or what's going on? So I did not want to present something that was potentially not accurate. Since then, we confirmed with M. O'Connor that, in fact, they believe that they need 57 additional calendar days to achieve substantial completion on the project. They wanted to show something that is realistic, and this is what they believe they need to complete the project. Now, there's a couple of things there. First of all, we do believe that the contractors owed a time extension. There was a lot of back and forth with the plumbing inspectors, and I can get into the details of that if you guys want me to. Interpretation of the code with the plumbing around the kitchen area. There was a lot of back and forth, and then there was some delays to the project, to the critical path because of that. Now, these 57 calendar days does not account for concurrent delays, so that's something that we need to look into. The exact time extension that the contractor we're ultimately going to give the contractor is to be determined at this point. Right now, all we have is that schedule that shows the 57 days. There's a substantial number of activities that were added to that schedule. For example, I have some notes here. Some of them are related to the plumbing inspections, but then there's a bunch of line items for RFIs, PCOs, shop drawings, weather delays, and there's even some forecasted delays that we haven't incurred yet that are in that schedule. And I'm just going to kind of just scroll through it real quick so you can kind of see the number of line items that were added to the schedule. So highlighted in yellow, it's what the contractor's saying are delays. These here are associated with the plumbing inspection. However, like I mentioned, there's a lot of PCOs, RFIs, and this is we've not, some of these go back actually. I mean, there's one here from November of last year. We have received no written notification about, for example, that delay. And if I keep scrolling to the next page, I mean, you can just see the number of items related to RFIs, PCOs, shop drawings. There's some weather delays here. Contractually, the contractor is not entitled to weather delays on this project. So the next step, So the next step is the design team and myself are going to be reviewing that schedule in depth to determine the legitimacy of the delays that they're essentially claiming. This is going to include looking at the concurrent delays, other contract terms, whether some of these PCOs or RFIs, actually there's a basis for a delay there. Like I mentioned, for example, we know that where the delays, it's going to be one that we're going to be striking out right off the bat, that contractually that they're not entitled to that. And then there's again some other delays that haven't even happened yet, that they're saying that are going to happen because of PCOs or RFIs. So I mean, I don't know. I'm going to open it up, see if you guys have any comments, but we can get as detailed as you want to. But that's what we're at right now. We're going to look at it. We're going to come up with a number of days that we believe the contractor is actually entitled to based on the contract terms. And we're going to be asking them to revise the schedule, to accelerate the schedule, to achieve the project that shows that they can complete the project on that, within that time extension that we believe they're entitled to. And then the rest, they will have to essentially make up on their dime.
I think it's important to note that this schedule was just received, was it the beginning of last week, maybe the
Right.
week,
Friday.
Friday, the week before. So there really hasn't been, there's been very little time for the team to look at this and to work through, if from our side, we think they're entitled to any of these delays. So that's being worked on now.
Yeah, the schedule, we got it on Friday, actually. So there's a lot of things that we need to
Friday.
look into.
Just last Friday.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot to
But
take for a period of time.
do you guys have the analysis from the baseline through this schedule, which is May's update? I mean, they have to give us a schedule every month, and they got to show changes to the baseline, and we've got to approve those changes to the baseline. I don't remember seeing any approval of schedule updates. We've been in dispute for a while. I guess we're going to be expecting a critical path analysis and schedule impact. They also need to provide us with a schedule recovery.
Yeah.
Who do you have doing your schedule analysis?
What do you mean on the contract? Who's the contractor using? Or
Yeah. Who on your team is? I mean, does Colliers do that in-house?
Yeah, so I do that, and I'm also, just because of the number of issues on this one, I'm coordinating with Mike Carroll and Phil as well. So we're all involved in this and looking at this thing.
I think you need to get someone a little more experienced in schedule analysis. This is going to be a lot of money. I mean, you're looking for over $50,000 for 28 days. We're now being pushed 3 months. And you're saying that there is a lot of risk based on that, because you've been describing a lot of owner-caused delays. Design issues, inspection issues are all owner-caused under the contract. So you're talking about a lot of money. I think we need to have a very serious review of the schedule, the critical path analysis, and concurrent delays. So I would expect Colliers to give us a resume of who you really have got working on this, and be able to give us a detailed analysis of what this schedule really is.
We can certainly look into that. Yeah, I mean, as far as just the inspections alone, David, I have an Excel file with 25 line items that just walks through what that process was like.
Well, we gotta understand, I mean, inspections, plumbing inspections should not be delaying projects. If these are design issues, they should have been resolved. I mean, we haven't, as a building committee, we're not getting into the details of it, but we shouldn't be having, this is a town building. we should be able to resolve inspectional issues relatively quickly, unless we got some serious design problems. And if there are, then that need to have been brought up to the committee a little sooner than this.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as the plumbing inspections, we've been going back and forth quite a bit. Basically, it comes out to, a big part of it is interpretation of the code. Obviously, we're working off of a permitted set of drawings. The
Well,
plumbing
this all would have gone through, I mean, I would expect this to have been done during design. That you've had a meeting with the plumbing inspectors and resolve the issues. I mean, it's not that complicated a building.
Al, I don't think we need to get into the,
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's just, I think we're gonna need some explanation of as we go forward, what is causing delays and, what's this gonna cost?
Yeah. And,
Mhm.
so is that, Al, I mean, with David's comments about, the schedule and an experienced schedule analyzer, I mean, is that, is that something that, if you could let us know, get back to us as far as that goes?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I made a note of it, and I'll certainly look into it and get back to you guys on
Okay,
how we're gonna approach that. Yeah.
Okay,
great, thank you.
Anything else on schedule?
well, we've got a lot of work to do on it.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll circle back on that one. And then on the budget report, let's see. Again, cells highlighted in yellow are updates for this payment period. We had a couple of transfers from the construction contingency to the construction cost. We approved 2 change orders that were time sensitive under the expedited process directly with Michael Blanchard. I'm going to go over what those are in a second. We have a total of 5 invoices for the month of April. I'm going to go over what those are. We have a few updates on potential exposures, both on the construction side as well as the owner's contingency. I'm going to show you what those are as well. And looking all the way to the right, column I at the bottom, worst case scenario, assuming that all of the potential exposures that we're tracking are approved as shown, as we have them right now. We're looking to have approximately 76% left in contingency, which is around $1.84 million. Any questions on the overall budget? All right.
No. Nope, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over the details of that. So starting with the left side under the hard cost, the construction cost, starting with the 2 change orders that I mentioned, we approved as they were time sensitive. One of them was it's for $7,205.40, and that is for custom C channels. The channels that we had in the design drawings, they didn't work with the acoustical deck system that was submitted. So we had to go with the custom C channels that to be able to weld them to the deck. These C channels are essentially supporting the curbs and the rooftop units. The other one, actually, we just gave him a verbal. They needed to have an answer on this one yesterday to the steel subcontractor was on site today. And if we didn't give an answer today, potentially there will be more costs and whatnot. That's for $618, and that is a change. One of the some of the clips that wouldn't fit within the spacing of the existing joist. That's a hidden condition. They had to cut them and do some of the additional changes with the anchoring of those clips. So that's $618.
So Al, the number 7, that's basically a coordination issue.
Yeah, I look at that one as a coordination issue. Yeah.
Okay, and number 8 was hidden conditions.
Hidden conditions, correct.
Thanks.
Okay, so moving on to the pending change orders, there's two of them that I want to present to the building committee for approval recommendation. One of them is the general conditions that we've been working on for many months at this point. I feel that we finally have the backup that supports that cost. And the total cost is $456,497.42. And again, that's for the 28 days time extension that we agreed with the contractor that would determine that they are entitled to as a result of the asbestos delay. Now, it's important to note that the general conditions is just for 17 calendar days. So we agree with the contractor that yes, the time extension is going to be for 28 days, but they're only going to charge us for 17 days. I believe that the cost it's well documented, supported, and I recommend that it be recommended for approval. I don't know if there's any questions on that, or if you want to go through it really quick.
Okay, if there's no, so is there any discussion on the general, this number 22, general conditions?
Yeah, there's a lot of parts and pieces to this.
Yeah,
I gotta leave it to Colliers that you've actually, you know, vetted all these. I mean, I just took a quick look at it. I mean, you've got over $10,000 in additional builder's risk. And
Yes.
that's pretty high for 28 or 17 days. I mean, I've gotten entire buildings for under 20. But I guess at this point, you guys vetted it and we gotta look to it. It's just, it's gonna set a precedent on what's it gonna cost going forward.
All of the backup is
I'm
there.
gonna need,
Yep.
I'm gonna need, you know, we're gonna need you guys at Colliers to have done your homework on this.
Yeah, all these costs, we've been going back and forth on this one quite a bit for
Yeah, I
months
know, it's
now.
been
And
months.
and so push back on a few things. You know, I requested all the documentation. As far as, yes, that builder's risk for $10,000, that seems really high. One of the things that I asked for is, you know, I know going back to the beginning of the project, we had a hard time getting this building insured, and eventually we actually, I believe we had to even reduce the insurable value of the building because nobody would insure the building at the value that we were asking for.
Did that come up?
I'm sorry.
Well, that's kind of new information. We're not insuring the building. This is builder's risk. This is the contractor's insurance, not ours. I mean,
True.
it's insuring in case something happens during construction because it's not our building until they turn it over. So that's part of his bid. We shouldn't have had to reduce the value because it's based on the value of construction.
Yeah, so they were carrying, I believe it was like 30,000 in their SOV. They were carrying $30,000 for builder's risk. They ended up, insuring the building for $126,000 or something. We have a receipt for that here. Nobody would insure the building. It was I know it was a long process, and and so we have essentially a letter from the insurance company that provided the builder's risk saying, for an additional month of builder's risk is going to be that number, 10,000. That's in here actually.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, we're gonna going forward. We're gonna need a lot more information, because it's just there's no way the builder's risk is costing that, but.
Yeah, I mean, we have an invoice from their insurance company, for 100. That's for the project for 125,000. And again, they were only carrying 30,000 in their SOV. I know that.
Do we have any reasons behind why they wouldn't insure it? And would it have changed now, given that the building's been more shored up and stabilized? Because I agree with, I don't know all the details about this, but I'm guessing that if we're agreeing to pay this now, that's what they're going to base future payments on if we have to extend further, and that's the worry right now. So it's going to be increased cost.
Yeah, so the 125,000 that they paid, that's to ensure the project for the contract duration, which was 420 days. There was some additional asbestos that was not in their contract that extended the schedule by 28 days. And so that additional month, they did not carry that in their bid. And so they provided the backup showing what it's going to cost.
So that's their payment bond.
That's for their contract.
They're paying, that's for, but that's also general liability. So it's not just builder's risk.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that included, the payment bond would be much more expensive than the builder's risk. The payment and performance bond.
Bond, yeah.
So this should be, we shouldn't be looking at 125,000 for builder's risk.
Yeah, and payment bond is
I mean,
based on
builder's
the
risk
value
is
of the contract.
it's the builder's risk. If he didn't put in the right amount, then that's his problem. So that would be determined between him and the insurance company, but we should only be at least be responsible for a pro rata portion of whatever the delay was. So he'd have to get an extension on the builder's risk. But it looks like that's for the payment and performance bond, right, Dave?
Well, that's what that invoice was for.
Yeah. So that wouldn't apply to,
So that, yeah, that's not relevant to
no.
builder's risk. I mean, your performance bond is based on the value of the contract. So yes, it goes up,
Mhm.
but it's like, less than 1%.
Right.
And
So what you've got, Al, what you've got in here, if I'm understanding this correctly, their backup, they're submitting not the builder's risk, they're showing us what their performance and payment bond is.
Yeah,
we
I don't know why it says
Up
that.
for the builder's risk.
Yeah, I don't know why it says payment and performance bond.
yeah, because that insurance is not based on time. That's based on contract value. Builder's risk will get adjusted based on the time.
So yeah, I'm not sure why that one. I can go back and check on this. I mean, this is just so this was showing what they actually paid for. But yeah, I don't know why it says. But we do have this letter from the insurance company, for the builder's risk policy, extending it. This is the duration of the project basically. But they're saying extended the above policy for 1 month. It's and that's the number that they were carrying, and that is for the builder's risk.
We should be seeing an invoice directly from the insurance company, not the agency, on builder's risk only, which would be an extension of the builder's risk term.
Yeah,
I can ask for I can ask for an invoice from the insurance company directly.
Yeah, some insurance companies will extend builder's risk for basically very small amount.
Yeah, my understanding is that because the builder's risk on this project was, and yeah, I'm also confused why this says payment and performance bonds, because my understanding is that actually it says it here too. The builder's risk was this amount. I can get clarification on this one.
Okay, that, Al, if you could, that would be great.
Mhm.
If you go back to the original sheet of just the line items, and I'd like to just, with the commit, the last one you just had on. Again, talking about the general conditions, blow that up. So I'd just like to ask, if anybody has, if we can just go through the unit, we don't need an explanation, Al, right now, unless there's a question from a committee member. And basically take, on each one of these line items, and I just want to make sure that if there's anything else we need to, or Colliers needs to investigate, besides the insurance. If there is, project superintendent labor, superintendent for 14,000. I'm assuming that, I know there was a switch in they had a superintendent on site who, I don't know if it was fired or quit. Does that take into account if there was a superintendent on site at the time this was going on? That's a question I have.
Actually, that's news. The original superintendent's no longer there?
No, and that happened after this whole asbestos ordeal, so that's not does not play a factor in this change order.
Okay, yeah. Okay, it's just kind of news. Because usually you don't want to see your super change. Okay.
And also, who are the superintendent on site now? That's Ed Tobin, but he's also wearing a project manager hat.
Yeah, so Ed Tobin was the project manager from the beginning of the project. Once Chris was the superintendent at the beginning of the project. I believe he quit. I don't believe that he was fired, but when he quit, essentially, Ed, he's done the super role before. He has that experience. He basically took over as the super on the project. What ended up happening while they were finding a PM for the project, the assistant PM, Abdo, he is only part-time on the project. The schedule of values only has him part-time. What happened is that he was essentially put only just on this project full-time to assist with the PM. Ed was still very much, just because he knew the project best, he was still helping with the PM task. Now, in addition to the assistant PM being on the project full-time, just dedicated to this project, they also had additional support from the office with Priscilla. She's on this project as well. She was also helping fill that role, and Crystal as well, who's the VP of operations.
Okay. So I guess going back to my original point, is there anything as we go through these line items, is there anything that the committee sees that raises a flag beyond the insurance?
No, I'm good with the rest of it.
Okay, Al, can you go to the next page? Because there's. Okay.
They have invoices for all of these line items.
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like we are ready to recommend for approval this PCO without further investigation into builder's risk. So I would request Colliers to look into the builder's risk and then come back with better backup information on this.
Sounds good. I'll get back to the GC to get additional information on the builder's risk.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right. So the next one is PCR number 23. This one is associated with the town's engineers. Town engineer who came to the site. He had a number of concerns with the permitted set of drawings. Requested a few changes. This one captures some of those changes. Includes 2 new manholes, rubber boot fittings for all the manholes on the project. This includes additional labor associated with that. And it's for $18,701.71. I believe that the costs have been well supported, documented, and I recommend that this PCO be recommended for approval.
And the reason why these things were all of a sudden appeared and we needed was why?
Well, yeah, I mean, we again, we were working off of a permitted set of drawings, and the contractor technically could have started building based off of the permitted set of drawings. I guess luckily we had the town engineer stop by the site one day and said that he had some comments on the permitted drawings. some issues, you know, with the Caltech structure, that's the stormwater infiltration system,
Yeah,
some of the manholes. So we, you know, we changed the connections from like a V, you know, the V connection on all the manholes to rubber put fittings per the town engineer's request. So that's
So these changes were per the town engineer request.
that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can I intervene on that?
Go ahead, Carl.
Yes.
yeah, please, Carl.
Mike and Jerry looked at the plans and they turned around and basically told him, good luck trying to tie into the existing drainage with these plans. He recommended to do X, Y, and Z. It was a recommendation until they did further investigation on what the existing conditions were. And I spoke with him today about that in length. So it's not per the town engineer request. That's all I'm saying.
Are these, Al, are these, the items that are included in this $18,000 to $19,000 PCO, or do they have anything to do with tying into any of the existing town systems? Or-
No, these are, I know that was another question that came up during that meeting. Carl said, yeah, I guess I just want to clarify. Yeah, so this PCO in particular is not related to tying to the existing drainage line along. So is it Center Street on that side? That was a question.
Springdale.
Center
That's
Street.
the
Center
other
Street.
Center Street. Yeah, that was a question that came up, Carl. There was some concerns that he had with, you know, the integrity of that structure, you know, whether, hey, it may
Yes.
not be reinforced.
Yes.
And so,
Okay.
you know, so this cost is not associated with that.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, if they're not associated with any of the tie-ins, then that was my question, so.
Right. Sorry to bother you.
No, Carl, thank you. Point well taken. I think we'll have this discussion maybe at another meeting, but we don't, this isn't what this particular item is about, so. Okay, so this was a request from, so again, I'm gonna ask the question, and Katie from FM, I don't know if you want to weigh in on this or not. These, because this was a change to the civil plans. These were requests made by the town.
Yeah, so thank you, Dick. There were a couple of things that were requested. So some of this includes some additional boots for some fittings. So this is both some material ordering, you know, different equipment prices, but then also there's some additional labor. And Al, I think you had a good summary of this scope. There's some additional mortaring. Some of the scope we had done before, but as I said, as part of these changes, it's at a high level. I'll say that this is you know, what you're getting is a better system. It's a betterment. So this is a bit of a belt and suspenders, or just something that's going to be longer lasting. But it did have to do with, there's kind of a difference between some V fittings and some rubber fittings that would be supplemental. And the second part I'll add is, so this particular scope is also long lead time items. So some of these pieces are 4 to 6 weeks ordering time. And so that's part of the reason why this got broken out, and we're trying to expedite it so that it can get procured and they can do the work, you know, in the summertime.
Yeah, thank
So
you,
this is
Katie.
all
So-
for rubber boots as the pipe comes into the manhole.
And 2 new manholes as well. And so in the last building committee, we had, so if we look in here, this breakdown, PCO 15 and 23. In the last building, this was one PCO together. And like Katie said, so there's additional changes that are associated with the infiltration system. That one we're still in the process of reviewing. And like Katie mentioned, we broke this one out into 2 pieces because we needed to expedite the ordering of these structures because of the long lead time items. So the 76,000 that you see for PCO 15, that's also associated with requests by the town engineer, but that is strictly associated with the infiltration system. We're very much still going through that one.
Well, I guess these plans were supposed to have been reviewed by the engineers before we put them out to bid. Now we're looking at $100,000 worth of changes. Then we're gonna need to understand what these issues are.
And I know there was a
I mean, if
page
it's just
there.
adding rubber boots to connectors, that, I mean, 18 grand is a lot of money for not a lot of work, but. I think we need to get on the same page with our engineers.
Yeah, I didn't know there was like a page turn, before construction. And I don't know, Katie, you might know more details about that, but I mean, yeah, we're working off of a permitted set of drawings, so.
Yes, and Al, I will say that this predates me, but I know that there were a
Okay.
series of conversations with our civil engineers and with the town engineer and also Board of Health and other groups. There were page turns, there were multiple sets
Well,
of
then
drawings
we
that were
needed-
reviewed.
Then, I don't know, maybe we need to ask our engineers to explain what's going on. I mean, this is costing the town a lot of money. Change orders are expensive.
Understood. My understanding is that all of this was reviewed and drawings were approved, and we have, meeting minutes to say that we have the understanding of what's expected by the town.
And the town came back and then after further review of the plans, after the page turns, the town came back and wanted these items, which are adding up to, as David pointed out, basically is gonna add up to about 100,000.
Yes, the page turns happened during design. Obviously with this project, we had 2 bidding sets that went out. There was reviews during both sets of drawings. And so the most recent review would have been probably spring of 23. And then obviously with the project going out to bid in the summer of 23, I think it was earlier this year, probably like in January, when the town engineer was on site. I'm not sure if there was actually an inspection called or if there was another reason for the meeting. But there was a conversation with the contractor and they said, we have some concerns about layout and design on the site. So we ended up having a meeting with civil engineer, town engineer. We had a full trailer of everyone there going through and comparing the permitted set of drawings that we're going off of, submittals, and the request by the town engineer.
So here's the dilemma. If we want further, basically kind of a nice outline of saying, here's what the changes are, kind of a summary sheet. Here's what the changes are. Here's what each one of them is, kind of big picture stuff, but like the boots is X amount, or because I know out of the PCO 15 and 76K, there's a lot more to that one. The dilemma, so that the committee has an opportunity to review that without getting into all too much, just on a kind of on a more on a higher level. The dilemma we face is the contract due to lead times with the, if I'm understanding this correctly, due to the lead times with this, with the PCO 22, the 18,000, they're anxious to get these ordered so that they don't get held up.
Yeah, no, I understand and agree. I mean, so I'm gonna order them and because they've got almost 11,000 in labor. It's actually just 6,000 for the actual boots, but 11,000 to basically slip them on. I know it's not as easy as just that, but
Yeah, David,
I mean, let's get them ordered, and if this is what the engineer wants to do, then we could work on the labor part. And do we have a?
Yeah, David, I spent half an hour earlier with the GC, the super, going over the labor for the boots. Ultimately, I believe that the labor it appears to be in line with what it's, we looked at how long it's gonna take to do each boot, what exactly needs to be done. How do you compare that with the prior fittings?
Is O'Connor doing this themselves? Or do they have their
yes.
site contractor doing it?
They self-perform site work.
They self-perform it?
Yeah.
All right. Just looking at. I mean, they're just giving you kind of total hours.
Yeah, I got into a little bit more detail earlier with them. It's I know that this kind of just shows the total, but we looked at, you know, each one, it's gonna take, you know, 45 minutes, and it seems like the B fittings are a lot easier, but yeah.
All right, I mean, yeah, I don't want to micromanage it, but. All right. Let's get them ordered.
Yeah, I mean, the civil engineer reviewed this PCO, the design team reviewed this PCO, I reviewed this PCO. We went back and forth a number of times on the pricing and the backup for it. Made a number of revisions to the PCO, and I believe that they've provided the proper backup and recommend that it be approved. Or
Did
recommended for approval.
the civil engineer comment on the hours?
Yeah, on the labor, yes, they did. Yeah.
And they thought they were fair and reasonable?
Yeah, they had a question about, you know, the motoring, and I was able to clarify that with the contractor this morning.
Okay, so the civil engineer thought that the labor part of this was fair and reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, they had a question on the motoring, whether, you know, hey, like, why, you know, we don't need more, you know, do we need motoring for the rubber boots? Because we had motoring before. And ultimately, I went back to the contractor and was able to clarify, yes, like we still need that motoring, but it's more about just that, like there's also sealant, additional sealant that we didn't have before. There's a little bit more work involved with the boots. You gotta like fit it in there as opposed to you can just put the pipe through and motor it. And then there's labor associated not just with the fittings, but also other parts of the manholes.
Okay, so basically from the design team, including, you know, FMA, the architects and their consultants and our OPM colliers, they, in your opinion, this you know, this PCO of 18K is fair and reasonable?
Yes.
Okay. We don't have to get into the nuts and bolts on this now. We'll be. Okay. Are you, Al, you looking for a recommendation for approval on this?
Yes.
Okay. Is there
So
any,
we're looking at, so it's the two blue ones, 22 and 23?
we're tabling 22.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Okay, because we wanted more information for the builder's risk, and that's not, you know, that's not an order of, it's not pressing, it wouldn't have an effect on the schedule. Number 23, site drainage modifications, that's the one that, Al, you're looking for recommendation for approval, which would then release the contractor to order the material. So is there any further discussion on PCO 23? Site drainage modifications? If not, then I would, do I hear a motion to recommend for approval PCO 23 site drainage modifications for ASI-011 in the amount of $18,701.71?
Motion.
Is there a second? Okay,
Second.
I'll poll the board. All those in favor, David Billings,
Yes.
Luciana Berti,
Yes.
Barry Goldman,
Yes.
Ruth Townsend,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. Okay, thank you. Now, next.
Okay, yeah, so we have another PCO that I added in here. We're still going back and forth on this one. It's window modifications. This is hidden conditions, new lintels, the additional, those additional like jackhammering of, there was some concrete that didn't allow them to put the blocking in. They had to remove that. So we're still going through that one, but that's just an existing conditions one. And moving on to the right side, looking at the soft costs, I added a number.
Now, wait a second. I'm gonna back up for a second. on PCO 24, are you looking for a recommendation for approval from the building committee for this PCO?
I am
Yeah.
not.
You are not. Okay, thank you.
So these are just new that's coming forward.
Yes, yeah. And the price may or may not change. We have to look at it.
Do we have a risk log of all the outstanding issues?
We have a PCO log with, that the contractor puts together with the PCOs that they're looking at. There's a couple more that they're showing there, but there's a couple where I'm not even sure if we're gonna approve it at all. And so I'm not showing those. But for the most part, this captures the PCOs that are gonna be forthcoming.
Well, I would, even if you don't think they're going to be, approved or go forward, there's still risk to the project. And we got to understand what the total risk is so that we can analyze the contingency. So,
Yep.
that's what usually risk logs do. I mean, you're looking at things that the contractor may not be seeing.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can take a look and see if there's anything else that we need to add here. I know there's a couple of PCOs that we don't even have a number for yet. I could guesstimate a number and put it in here to capture that.
Yes,
but yeah.
that's what you need to do.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on the PCO log on the left side of the screen? Okay. Moving on to the right side of the screen, soft cost. There's a few new line items here highlighted in yellow. We're looking at a 28-day time extension for the asbestos abatement delay, and I wanted to put a placeholder. If we're going to be extending the schedule, we're likely going to have an ad services from both the architect as well as myself, project management. And we don't know ultimately what the number is going to be, but I did want to capture this just to risk log captured in the contingency. And so again, I actually added a couple of lines here. So one of them is for the asbestos abatement. That's 28 days. That's the PCO that we're going to be tabling for now. And then the next two, it's another time extension. Ultimately, I don't know what kind of time extension we are going to end up giving M. O'Connor for, say, the plumbing inspection delays on the project. But I still wanted to capture something. M. O'Connor saying 57 days. I just basically went with a month for now. I still wanted to capture something. And this is close to the 24,000. That's close to what FMA's their monthly billing runs, and 21,000. It's what Collier's monthly billing runs. Any questions on those line items?
I think we're gonna need more discussion on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I understand, Al, you want to get this as almost like a risk log, if you will. Get this into the contingency, and I would, on the top of my head, I'm saying, well, if we're roughly 3 months behind, we're looking at, you put in figures that are only for a month of ad services from Colliers and from FMA, if those would be charged by FMA or Colliers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, 3 months. I don't know how realistic that is for a time extension. I mean, that's basically the contractor saying what they need to complete the project. That's not what, doesn't look at concurrent delays, doesn't look at a number of other things. So, I mean, I could certainly show 3 months just to, worst case scenario. So it's up to you guys. What, if you think that that's too low and we should show a little more, we could do that.
Yeah, well, as David, I think was just mentioning, it needs more discussion. But as a risk log, it would make sense to me to see what the outside, what that bound is.
Yeah, I could bump that up a little bit. Yeah.
For next meeting.
Okay. And Yeah, the last item, we just received the Okers audio and video quote. And it's $30,000 over we had budgeted. We had a quote from them from last year. We were right on target, but we needed to update the quote. Products change and pricing, pricing change, changed as well. Just got that quote, so I wanted to capture that in as well. I am waiting. There's potentially another company that's going to bid on it as well, and they're the bids are going to be due on Friday. So potentially that's going to change, but that's
Don't forget, Al, 2 more. Not just Okers.
sorry. Give me 1 second.
So more bids are coming in. They're due Friday.
Yes,
This,
yes.
this 30,000 is a placeholder because we know at least we have one bid, it's $30,000 over. We don't know if that's gonna, where the others may
Yes.
end up. Okay,
That's my point being.
okay.
What was the original bid for AV?
It was right. It was right around. I don't know the exact number. I could get it, but it was right around that 112,000 that we have budgeted for, and the bid came in at. Pull that up.
And just see a little history, this is Carl. I
Mhm.
suggested to Al to get 2 other quotes to see what they are, given the fact of what it is. Just good, sound business practices, not from
Yes.
one vendor.
Right.
So we're waiting the other 2 that we solicited.
So this one came in at 142, and that's why compared to 112, that's
Yeah,
a change. Yeah.
gotcha.
So considerably higher.
Yes.
Well, for now, until we get those other 2 price quotes
Right.
from a vendor that the town uses, and also a contact that I have through the phone system. So
Oh,
that's what we're waiting for.
yeah, Carl. Retrofit did not. They did not want to bid on the AV on this project. They are bidding on the networking, communications, and security. But
Okay,
they did not want to bid on the AV.
it's
we have
their
enough-
choice. It's their choice.
But we do have another quote coming on Friday, so we'll
Yes.
see with that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, we look forward to, where those land.
Okay. Yeah. So again, like say all this stuff that's here gets approved just the way that it's shown. We're looking at having 75%, close to 76% contingency, $1.854 million left for contingency. Any questions on the change orders, contingency logs?
No,
All right, so let's look at the invoices for the month of April. We have 5 invoices. M. O'Connor's payment application number 10. It's for $616,000. What that's for is general conditions, the slab on grade at the pavilion, just the remaining slab on grade materials for the project, CMU labor, additional brick materials, steel erection, rough carpentry mobilization costs, PLT panels fabrication, underground plumbing, and the pre-strap oil interceptor, condensing units, equipment, electrical equipment and utility work, and self-performed site work. M. O'Connor's self-performing all the excavation for underground utilities. That's what most of that's for. Other invoices includes Collier's typical monthly invoice of $21,154. We have FMA's invoice of $23,631. Special inspections, bricks for $1,489, and our typical monthly invoice for the storage container rental for $398. I reviewed all these costs, and I believe that they are consistent with the contract terms, and I recommend that they be recommended for approval.
Okay, so our total amount, is there any further discussion on the monthly invoices?
what percentage complete is O'Connor? We're about 23%.
75.
5%. Okay, yeah, we're just getting, both Colliers and FMA, you're at over 50%. So that's something we gotta look at.
Yeah, we are over 50% of the schedule. And the construction is picking back up April. We were dealing with the plumbing inspections on the project. We got the steel in, and so there's a lot more activity. So I anticipate that, the billing, it's gonna balance, going forward a lot more.
Well, yeah, we just need to do it. Remember, you're a lump sum contract, not a monthly. So we've got to align you guys' contracts a little bit more with what's out there on site.
Well, so our contract is it's a lump sum, and we're billing a fixed amount every month for the duration of the project. That's not
Well, the duration is when it's done, not. So
Um,
again, we need to have a little bit more discussion on that.
yeah.
But
I mean,
let's
well,
move it forward for this month.
yeah. I mean, if we end up extending the project, that's why I added the time extension here, because that wouldn't be included in our base contract.
Well, again, discussion needs to be made on it.
So we've got an alignment issue and or potential issue or concern, I should say, better term.
Yeah, right now it's a concern.
It's a concern. We also have a concern about the additional services. So
Right.
we'll see if we can get those straightened out before our next committee meeting. Or, working on that.
Yeah, I feel like I want to understand like what it is that that you're looking for a little bit more from us on that one. If there's something that
We can have those discussions out offline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion on monthly invoices? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the monthly invoices for April in the amount of $662,730.78?
Motion.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll poll the board. David Billings,
Yes.
excuse me, all those in favor, David Billings,
Yes.
Luciano,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
and I am a yes. Okay, thanks, Al.
Yep. I mean, so that's pretty much it for the presentation. I'm gonna open it up to if we have any citizens on the line.
Well, before we open that up, okay, I'd like to just mention regarding the generator location, the building committee, we are looking into mitigation, the concerns which were expressed at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Regarding mitigation for the visual impacts of the generator, potential exhaust, the smell of the exhaust, further sound mitigation, and then looking into the fire suppression. So I just want to make that comment, and now we'll open it up for citizen comments.
Doug Wolf again.
Yep, go ahead,
Hey.
Doug.
You guys are looking into things like you said, sound mitigation. I'm reading that as the generator's going to go where the generator's going to go. Is that correct?
That is
You-
correct.
So you don't plan on moving it at all?
No,
Well, that changes things. Okay. I have never seen a rendition of the back of the building. Where can I get that?
we can forward Al, can you forward along an elevation to Doug? And Doug, if you can, as far as contact information goes, if you could get back to I don't know if you have my contact information or
The
not.
Colliers should have mine. They've emailed me in the past.
Okay, all right.
So-
Then Al, can you please email Doug some pages of the plans that show the generator and the elevation.
Yeah, no, certainly. Doug, so I just want to clarify that that's what you're looking for. Plans and elevations of showing what their generator is.
Well, that, and I want to see, you've got renditions of an artist rendition, if that's what you want to call it, of 3 sides of the building, but you don't have the west side. I've never seen the west side, which is the side that I have to look at. And that's what I want to see.
Yeah, we've got them in the in the construction docs.
Okay. With your revised schedule, when do you see my backyard being restored?
Al, I think I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I think that, my suspicion would be towards the end of the project, the fall. Late summer, fall.
Yeah. Doug, I guess I want to make sure I'm understanding the question. So, your backyard, meaning I know we're gonna do some plantings there. There's gonna be some fence work there as well, I believe. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I just want to know when I'm going to see that happen. I just need a window of time.
Yeah, like Dick said, it's going to be towards the end of the project, and we're very much working on I can look into the schedule. I have to find the item. Now we are still working, through the schedule, so that could potentially change. But I could certainly follow up with more detailed information on that one.
Okay. All right. If you want to get back to me on that also with the email.
Yep, we'll do.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks, Doug. Are there any other citizen comments? Okay, well, even with that, I'll make any other comments or any other comments from the committee, citizen comments? If not, then I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? David Billings?
Yes.
Luciano?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Ruth?
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. And so thank you, everybody, for attending the meeting, and thank you to those of the Community Center Club.
I don't think I think there might be just a couple left on, so I don't know whether they want to ask any questions once we finished and stopped recording, but maybe if we stick around, Dick, you and I, for a little while in case they did.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's do this. I'm going to stop the recording of the meeting. So officially the meeting is over. And if anybody wants to stay on for questions from the Community Center Club, please do so. I'm going, are you